No. All right, welcome everybody to the 2024 UIL Realignment Show, partnered up between the Lions Pride Sports Broadcast and Lunar Eagles Sports Broadcast. Of course, Lions Pride Sports Broadcast, this Realignment Show is brought to you by Kreitz Market and Kent Rental Properties, our main sponsors. And for the Lunar Eagles Sports Broadcast, Uncle Wiggley's Wieners, Mom's Front Porch, and Magnolia Mart. Magnolia Mart.
Correct.
I'm Emilio Sarz-Juarez. We're going to be here for at least about an hour and a half. To my right is the voice of Lunar Eagles Sports Broadcast, Eric Lugo. To his right is a color commentary guy for for football, and we'll be working together with doing some softball games as well this year. It's TD Tom Dunn, and to the far right, it's the coach, Amado Galvez, our football analyst for Friday Night Football. And, of course, if he doesn't know anything about high school football, it's probably because it hasn't happened or it's not true.
Well, you know how in the college football they always say the Ohio State University?
Yeah.
They got that from the coach.
Yeah, the coach. There you go.
I'd like to welcome everybody at Lockhart High School. Hey, guys, and big shout-out to our principal, Ms. Vasquez.
Oh, yeah?
Freshmen stopped working right now so they can watch the realignment show and find out where we're going. And after that, they're going to get back to work. But hello, Lockhart High School. And it's great day to be a Lockhart Lion.
Oh, yeah. There's a hello to Luling Eagles fans out there as well. And not only the Ohio State TD, he's brought the U to Miami University.
That's right.
He said, this is you from now on. All right. And I think if we dig down into the history of it, I think Coach brought the hook 'em horns to him, too.
Okay.
So, but welcome, everybody. It's a big day for UIL and high school sports all across the state of Texas, as every 2 years they have a realignment. And based on the cutoff numbers or the snapshot numbers that were turned in early October, determines where that school is going to be at for the next 2 years. And we've come up to that time, and luckily enough, Mother Nature was great to us today. 2 years ago, I had to do it from my mansion, which I don't mind, but it was so cold, icy weather. They said, don't even think about coming up here. We'll send you everything, and we'll get you all squared away to do it from home. 2 years before that, it was you, Eric, with me, and we did the 2021. And, of course, right after that, COVID happened. And
Right.
But here we are, 2024, and there's big changes coming up for Lockhart High School and sports, as Lockhart will be moving up to 5A Division 2 or Division 1 from the 5A Division 2, and Luling will remain at 3A Division 1. So we'll get to some of the predictions that we got. But as far as the cutoff numbers that we have this year, is of course you can look down. 5A Division 1 that Lockhart's going to be in, enrollment was from 1903 to 2274. There's 128 schools in that district. As for Luling, 3A Division 1, they turned in, it's 369 to 544, and there's 101 schools in that district. So a lot of new schools popping up, and, of course, a lot of numbers changing around. And, you know, Lockhart's been in 5A Division 2 for about 12 years, I believe. And now they move up to 5A Division 1. And the way Lockhart's been growing, who knows, maybe the next 2 years or 4 years from now, we could be looking at a 6A school.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, we're getting a lot of new students, a lot of people moving into Lockhart. And guess what, guys? They're not moving back. And they're bringing more people with them, and it's going to grow. We're going to and just driving around Lockhart, you can see all the growth going on just around the surrounding areas, surrounding neighborhoods.
And
so be prepared.
Yeah, and while Lockhart's booming now, a lot of the other kind of towns in Central Texas did the same boom that we're experiencing, but maybe, 5 to 10 years ago. So I think for a lot of people, especially longtime Lockhart fans, you're going to see some familiar names when it comes to the realignment.
Yeah.
Teams that Lockhart played a lot when they were in 4A, other teams that were also 4A then, they've since moved up to 5A. Division 2 and then Division 1 well ahead of Lockhart, and now Lockhart's going to catch up to some of those schools. So be prepared to see some old familiar names for Lockhart Lions fans out there.
Yeah, that last realignment, we saw Lockhart get back in it with Bastrop for 2 years, which was a great rivalry. And, of course, we talk about Lockhart expanding. What's going on in Luling? Luling hasn't expanded for years, and maybe y'all need to let Lockhart know so we can stay where we're at.
Well, Sarge, the biggest thing right now is that we don't have an athletic director currently. My understanding is they're in the process of doing interviews and such to try to bring a new one in, and that's, as far as I know, still ongoing. Hadn't received any updates about someone being hired. It's imminent that they're going to be hired, anything like that. And, of course, we do have an acting athletic director right now, Ronnie Robledo, who's also our baseball coach. But he's, we don't know. And my understanding is that he was going to put his name into consideration to get the job full time. But, whether that's the case or not, I haven't got any confirmation from Coach Robledo, so I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, that's really the biggest thing for us is finding out who's going to lead us into the next couple of years, and even on into the future, and what that person's going to be like and how they're going to mesh with the athletes that we have right now currently there at Luling High School, Luling Independent School District. So we'll see, Sarge. We'll see how everything goes, but everything's going along right now. With like I said, with Coach Robledo in charge, and we're just kind of plugging along and looking to try to improve because last football season wasn't really the greatest for us. I hated to see Coach Nate Langford go out on that kind of note, but he had to do what he felt was best for his family. He's moved on to coach at Rio Grande Valley with his good friend Travis Bush. So that's where he's at now, him and his family, and seems to be enjoying it there, at least from what I can tell. And we'll just, for us in Luling, we're just moving on and seeing where things take us into the future.
Yeah, we're about 11 minutes away from the new district, and they'll be bringing us the paperwork here pretty soon.
I like to echo what Eric was saying. Coach Langford did a great job at Luling High School. Well, and he's going to do an awesome job at his new position. And then wish him all the luck in the world.
Yeah, it's UT Rio Grande Valley. I was trying to think of the actual official name of their university. That's what it is. Yeah.
Well, and as we talk about growth and the growth that Lockhart's experienced, as we said, so Luling hasn't seen this boom yet. But, I follow very closely real estate and the local economy. And I really think with the way the boom has happened in Austin, a ton of the population growth in Caldwell County is really supporting the boom in Austin. It's a lot of blue-collar workers moving into Caldwell County. They're supporting and building all that infrastructure going in Austin. And with that, as everyone knows, property values have gone up. Mm-hmm. Lockhart becomes a more expensive place to live. So Luling might not have seen the boom yet, but mark my words, give us another 5 years down the road. Lockhart is quickly run out of room. They're building, housing developments everywhere they can. It is only a matter of a time before it reaches out there and Luling starts to experience the same type of growth that Lockhart's experiencing right now. And it's it's a runaway train.
Yes.
There's no stopping it, no slowing it down. There'll never be a time where I think Lockhart or Luling reverts to their population of the 90s. It will just continue to grow as the whole Austin area is forecasted in the next 10 years to surpass San Francisco as the most.
Oh, yeah. And Sarge, I want to kind of build on what TD just mentioned there. Is that I just, when I go to Lockhart, I don't go as much as I used to because I do a lot of work for my job from home now. But when I do, I just go at least once a month for meetings I have with Knights of Columbus. And when I go through, now I see that Summerside's expanding, even further than they already were. They already have a lot of houses out there. And so as soon as I come into Lockhart, there's more. And like you just mentioned, TD, eventually Lockhart's going to run out of room if they haven't already. And that real estate and those people have to go somewhere else.
That's it. And as the cost of living goes up, they'll move and try to find a little lower cost of living, and it spreads just like everything else does, but it is inevitable. So it wouldn't surprise me to see we get to our next realignment show or maybe two down the road that we see Luling start to grow and maybe start to hop up a couple
4A
divisions.
Division 2.
Mm-hmm, maybe.
All right. Well, ever since the snapshot numbers were out, and as soon as ever since the UIL put the cutoff numbers at, predictions fly wild like hayfire. So
they do.
Let's run through that. We got about
Even
9 more
minutes.
minutes.
The Cowboys are in one of the predictions for who Lockhart may play.
Yeah. So we'll start off. The UIL just recently had their prediction of redistricting, and as for Lockhart, they have us predicted to go into District 12 5A Division 1, as you can look at the screen. Of course, we'll have, familiar foe in San Antonio Piper, Lehman, and, of course, Hayes, Bernie Champion, New Braunfels, which drops down from 6A, Smithson Valley, and, of course, us, Lockhart. And if this is the case, gentlemen, this is going to be a tough district for Lockhart, as San Antonio Piper went all the way to the regional finals before they lost to Liberty Hill. Smithson Valley went all the way to state and lost in the state finals. In the state championship game. New Braunfels finished second in that division, in
Oh,
their
and-
division.
And in New Braunfels, we talk about them moving down. Folks, it's not because they've gotten smaller. It's because they built a second high school there in New
A
Braunfels.
third high school.
Or a third.
Yeah.
And you can bet that the original New Braunfels High School, they're going to retain that talent. So
Oh, yeah.
just because they're coming down division does not mean they're coming down in talent,
Oh, yeah.
folks. They're going to bring a
the new
team.
school is going to be nothing but freshmen this year anyway. So New Braunfels won't be losing much. Of course, they'll lose some of their star seniors, but I mean they got a great squad coming up.
It's a good school, a
Yeah.
very good school, not just athletic-wise, but academic-wise
Yeah.
also.
Well, like
Very
I
good
said,
high
some
school.
of these names on this list for Lockhart Lions fans of the 90s and 2000s, you'll recognize, and we played against a lot of these a lot of times. Hayes is a long-time storied rivalry between Lockhart and Hayes that really goes back even to the 80s.
Yeah.
But some great games were played between those two schools in '90. Smithson Valley, early 2000s, late 90s. Lockhart played Smithson Valley a lot, and they were always a formidable opponent. And then, of course, old familiar foes more recently, like Bernie Champion, who Lockhart struggled against in the last few years that they were in district. They seemed to find a way to beat us at home and at their
Yeah.
field. Bernie Champion always bringing a strong program. And then we all know, like you said, Piper, we experienced that explosive offense
Yeah.
this last year. They were
And they lose
dang
some
near
key players. They
unstoppable.
lose some key players themselves too. But I mean, they got a fresh group coming up from the JV level, and I don't see them slowing down either.
Piper just reloads.
Yeah,
Was
and of
there-
course we got Lehman as well also. So it's a tough district right there.
Well, and there's some ties, Lockhart and Lehman. Lockhart's new high school softball coach, Coach Manny Espino, comes to Lockhart from Lehman. And I know on the softball side of things, we've got 2 games against Lehman this year, and that's one that he's really excited about because anytime you go to a new school and play your old school, you definitely want to get the victory there. So that's another school to watch out for. And while they are the second Hayes school, I think they're just about done spending time in the shadow of the old Jack C.
Right.
Hayes High School
Yeah.
over there
And Coach
start
is
trying to
doing,
make it
like
own.
I echo what TD was saying. I'm sure he'll agree with me. He's doing a great job with the
Yeah.
softball
Oh,
program.
And of course,
absolutely.
Hayes has a new coach that's going to be coming in for this year too. So it's going to be exciting times. If this is the district, this is a UIL redistricting predictions for Lockhart. As we move to the next one, this is going to be Texas High School Sports. Them and Dave Campbell's had the same for Lockhart, and we're looking at it right now. If you go to the right middle portion of your screen, they have Lockhart in District 12, 5A Division 1, of course. But this time they got us in a district with the 9-team district with Austin Anderson, which is dropping down from 6A, Bastrop Cedar Creek, Hayes Lehman, and then the Leander schools, Leander Cedar Park, Leander Glen, Leander Rouse, and, of course, Lockhart. And this is a little bit more of I wouldn't say an easier district, but compared to the one the UIL has us predicted going, that's a lot easier.
Well, and this is a very similar group to Lockhart's current non-football district, as right now, like we talked about softball and baseball, they'll be playing Leander Glen, Leander Rouse. They'll be playing Lehman. They'll be playing Hayes. They play Cedar Creek. So this mock-up here for at least our non-football is a little bit familiar to us because those are the opponents that we're playing now in our non-football district. And I wouldn't mind playing some of these teams. If I compare the side-by-side between the UIL predictions and this prediction, I definitely would like to take this one if I had a choice.
Oh, yeah.
But as you folks know, we do not have a choice. We will play who they tell us we will play.
And we will know here in about 4 minutes, so let's move on. Of course, Dave Campbell's Texas High School Sports have Lulen. We'll go switch down south on 183. Lulen is predicted to stay in the same district, District 13, 3A Division 1, along with Llano, Marion, Universal City, San Antonio Co., Ingram Moore, and Lulen. Of course, missing from this list will be Blanco, as I believe they moved up to
Yes.
4A Division 2.
Mm-hmm. They correct, Sarge. I couldn't remember if they moved up or down, but I believe you're correct. They did move up to from 3A Division 1 to 4A Division 2. So with that being the case, we obviously are not going to have them in our district going forward. And it's looking like, according to the predictions, like you mentioned, we're just going to keep the same district, just lose Blanco, and then keep everyone the same. I had someone mention to me the other day that they thought maybe it was a possibility that we could end up with some northern schools in like Florence, and I think Cameron was another one mentioned. And I'm really hoping that that's not the case because that would be really hard travel on our kids.
Right.
Well, you've already got Llano, which is a bit of a trip from Lockhart.
Yeah.
And Llano,
Right.
they're a 3A school, but man, they seem to find talent out there in the Hill Country.
Oh, yeah.
They came to Lockhart last week and played a softball scrimmage against the Lockhart softball team. And even though that Llano school is a 3A school, I mean, they found some talented girls out there in the Hill Country for softball, and no doubt they probably do the same in every sport. And then, you've got the good old rivalry between Marion and Luling. That's
right.
the one that y'all have had for a long time.
Yes,
and
sir.
Hopefully
Sure.
sticks around for a while. Then you've got, traveling down to San Antonio to Randolph, got the military high school there, and then you've got Cole, Ingram, Moore. So a little bit of traveling, a little bit spread out district for Luling. And like you say, if they throw in, say they were to drop a San Antonio school or two and then throw in more of those northern schools, that's even more travel for Luling.
Right.
Right. And then both not only Randolph, like you mentioned, TD, but also San Antonio Cole is a military school as well. And with those, you really never know what you're going to get because they are military schools, you don't know if the
They have a
parents
high
are going to
turnover,
get.
too.
Tomorrow you're going to Afghanistan or
Yeah.
you're going to wherever, so you just never know, what you're going to get.
Yeah, right now, Coach just took off. He's going to go get the paperwork right now. Of course, these are just predictions. And, of course, we got our non-football prediction from the Texas High School Sports on Twitter, or on X now. And, of course, these are all just predictions. If you look to the bottom left of the screen, I couldn't find for Luling. They usually stay in the same district and maybe add a team or two, but we'll know here in a little bit.
Correct.
But on the bottom left, Texas High School Sports and non-football district, they have Lockhart in District 25, 5A Division 1. And, of course, in that district, they predict Alamo Heights, Hayes Lehman, Judson Veterans Memorial, Judson Wagner, New Braunfels, Seguin, and Lockhart. So that's still a tough district right there. Not as tough as what the one that Lockhart is in right now. But if you look at it, there's some good travel that's going to be taking place
sure.
right there.
Well, in some good non-football schools, talk about New Braunfels and Seguin. We talk about the baseball, softball side of things. New Braunfels and Seguin both always bring really good teams to the diamond, whether it's on the softball side or the baseball side. And then you've got some San Antonio schools getting thrown in here, like Veterans Memorial and Judson Wagner. Those both I expect to be two good schools. And then, like I said, same thing as on the football side, Hayes Lehman. I think they're just about ready to step out of Big Brother's shadow. And then, of course, the old familiar foe as well, Alamo Heights always brings talent. So not an easy prediction for the non-football district in Lockhart, but a good one. Definitely, playing better in higher competition brings you up and gives you the opportunity. I was talking to Coach Mabus when we played San Antonio Piper, and I think they were ranked 6th in the state. And I told Coach Mabus, I said, well, there's the one real good thing about playing the 6th-ranked team in the state is you have an opportunity to play the 6th-ranked team in the state, which can do, it can do a lot for you. And so we're just waiting on the coach. Looking down the hall, looks like all the coaches are filing in the big conference room, and they're seconds away from the release of the new districts.
Of course, our resident expert, I call him Brad Wright, just texted me our football district, Sarge. So
I got it right here.
yeah, and so we'll go ahead and interesting. We'll
You
reveal
playing
that
Westlake?
No, no.
As right now, this is Luling's district
There it
right
is.
now that came out.
Sarge has it right there in front of him. Yeah.
And, of course, let me pull up what we had predicted. But district, you want to go announce it, Eric?
Yeah, sure. We'll go ahead. You can see it there on the screen that Sarge has it there. We had heard Florence, and you see there, Florence is indeed going to be part of the District 13 3A Division 1. And so I believe that's what it is, 13 3A Division 1, if I'm not mistaken. Brad, I know you're listening since you're sending this stuff, so let me know if I'm getting anything wrong. And so Ingram Moore, Llano, and, of course, us, and Marion, and Universal City Randolph. So it is a 6-team district, and we did, as I was just getting ready to say that, we lost San Antonio Cole, as you can see there. So we lost San Antonio Cole, but we picked up Florence. So looks like now we're gonna. We talked about that travel. Not only are we gonna have to deal with traveling to Llano, but now we're gonna have to deal with traveling. I'm sorry, to Florence as well. So anyway, yeah. So let's see. You guys, y'all are looking up your Lockhart. See what you guys are going to do these next
And
couple of years.
if you look right at District 12, wow. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Lockhart's going to be in a 9-team district as they have Lockhart going up against Austin Anderson, Bastrop Cedar Creek, Buda Hayes, College Station A&M Consolidated, Kyle Lehman, Lockhart, of course, us, Pflugerville Hendrickson, and Pflugerville Weiss. Wow.
Well, go
Talking
ahead.
about a
Go ahead.
curveball.
Go ahead.
Wow.
Announce that again, Sarge.
There, here we are.
We have Austin Anderson, Bastrop Cedar Creek, Hayes, College Station A&M Consolidated, Lehman, Pflugerville Hendrickson, and Pflugerville Weiss.
Yeah, talk about a curveball for Lockhart. Let's see, out of these teams, really only Hayes and Lehman were predicted to be in the district. So outside of those two teams, you've got Austin Anderson, Cedar Creek, 2 College Station teams, and 2 Pflugerville teams, all of which were not expected to be in this district with Lockhart. But at the same time, as I look at this, I like it. It's definitely a favorable district for Lockhart, maybe more so than what we saw in the prediction. As you know, you don't have a Piper in here, you don't have New Braunfels High School, but I can tell you one thing: both College Station and College Station A&M Consolidated, those schools have been good forever,
And,
they remain good.
Sarge is working on trying to put that on the screen so people can, because a lot of people.
He's got it on there,
Okay,
yes, sir.
great,
Uh-huh.
awesome. Right now, College Station and what's the other one? A&M Consolidated
Yep.
are very, very good in football. It's going to be tough, especially if you have to go down there and play them there. Very good football. And Sarge will be covering here the other sports here pretty soon. We have the district for basketball and baseball coming up.
And while we're waiting, while you guys are looking up yours, let me go ahead. I got the District 26 3A, where there's no divisions in this District 26 3A for the other sports for Luling. And there's going to be quite a bit of change on this. We're losing a few schools, and we're picking up some other ones. We're going to pick up Goliad. We're going to pick up Karn City. We're going to pick up Hoth. So, and Stockdale. Stockdale is back in our district after being out the last 2. Actually, my understanding is they had moved, I think it was down to 2A. Now they're apparently going back up to 3A, and they're going to be back in with us. And then also we keep Nixon Smiley, and I believe that's really the only school we're keeping out of the current district that we have, because all these other ones are new. Goliad, Karn City, Poth, and Stockdale are all going to be new to our non-football district for the next 2 years, or next 2 academic years.
Yeah. And as for Lockhart's non-district or non-football, if you look at District 25, it's pretty much the same as it's been this past year. Of course, we got Hayes, Cedar Park, Lehman, Leander, Glenn, Leander Rouse, Liberty Hill, Lockhart, and, of course, Leander Lyons. So it's pretty much the same as it was last 2 years. So not much of a big change for non-football district, but, wow, what a big change for Lockhart on football.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the non-district side, like you said, this list of teams for basketball, softball, baseball is essentially, and volleyball is essentially the same as they've got now. So, like on the softball side and baseball side, we'll play all the teams we played this year, which is good because you play them once this year and you start to play them again next year. And who knows, maybe you build some rivalries, renew some old rivalries. But one thing to focus on is we've got all 3 of those Leander schools in there as well as Liberty Hill. So a little bit of travel in there in the non-football. Now, looking at the football side of things, 7 of the 9 schools are within 30 minutes of Lockhart. So that is, favorable when you come to talk about looking at travel. We have the 2 College Station schools, which inevitably I would think that you're going to schedule one of those home, one of them away. So probably have 1 College Station game between the 2.
This is what, like Sarge asked me, what happens now? Okay,
Yes.
Coach Mavis and Coach Gilbert in Austin right now, they're confirming the non-district games because we need to see what the other schools, if they're in a 9-team district or 17. So if they're in a 9-team district, they can't play us. So we're going to have to scramble and find another opponent.
Correct.
So that's what Coach Mavis is doing right now as we speak. Now tomorrow they'll have a district meeting. They need to decide who the district chairman is going to be. Lockhart's been the district chairman. I thought it was Liberty Hill, but it was Lockhart the last 2 years. They decide who's going to be the district chairman. Need to talk about overtime rules when his football starts. Need to talk about tiebreakers and the schedule. Okay, I'm going to your place this year. Next year you come to my place. And they just go down the list of every game, decide who's home, who's away. And that'll be decided tomorrow, probably tomorrow afternoon.
Now, and ideally, they'll try to set it up where you're not going to College Station 2 weeks in a row.
Back to back.
Now, as far as non-district games, we got a couple of them lined up. Well, not lined up based on what the district is, but of course, two of the three teams the three teams that were mentioned was, of course, Bastrop, Victoria East, and San Antonio Southwest Dragons. Looking at Bastrop,
those have not been confirmed.
Right, they have not been confirmed. But looking at Bastrop's district, they're in a 9-team district themselves also, so they're going to be scrambling for 2 games. And before we had kind of figured that Bastrop and Lockhart were going to be the third game of the season in non-district play. But with both teams at 9 teams apiece, that only leaves 2 non-district games between the both of them. So who knows? Hopefully we could keep that Lockhart-Bastrop thing going.
You got to think that rivalry is important enough to both schools to try to make that one of your 2 non-district games and a close one for us.
That'd be perfect for us, and I'm sure most of the Lockhart community wants that, and I'm sure most of the Bastrop community want that. But
after the last 2 years, the Bastrop community may want it as much.
That's up to the people that make more money than we do.
Yeah, exactly. Now, as far as the scrimmage game, of course, there was talk of Kerrville-Tivy, and, of course, that washed away real quick. Coach, you got the heads up on who we're going to be scrimmaging this year for the next 2 years.
The way it looks now is going to be Elgin.
Which is going to be good. I like that.
Elgin's been strong the last couple years.
The battle of barbecue.
Elgin is not that. Elgin is no longer that tiny little 2A, 3A town that we all used to know.
No.
That area has boomed just like Lockhart, and they've competed the last couple years, and they've
very
given
program.
some good teams some fits as well.
Very good program, real nice facilities.
Yeah. And as far as our old foes of Bastrop, Liberty Hill, they'll be in Region 3, Division 2 with Austin Crockett, Austin LaSalle, McCallum, Austin Navarro, of course, Bastrop, Elgin, Liberty Hill, Pflugerville, and Pflugerville-Conley. As for Kerrville-Tivy, who we won't, they stayed in 5A Division 2, barely. They got Bernie Greyhound, which moves up from 4A Division 1. Kerrville-Tivy, San Antonio Alamo Heights, Veterans Memorial, San Antonio Harlandale, San Antonio McCullum, which I believe drops down from 6A, and Victoria West. So
they've got a pretty favorable schedule. And Lockhart's been in district for Liberty Hill for several years, and I'll be the first to say goodbye.
Yeah.
be glad not to have to see that old slot T.
And remember, Liberty Hill is going to open up a new high school.
Yeah.
This year, of course, they're just going to be freshmen and sophomores, but they'll be. I'm sure they'll be very very competitive in the next couple of years, especially once that new high school, another high school opens up over there. There may possibility they may drop down.
Yeah.
I can say I am pleased with this realignment and surprised as far as what Lockhart drew for the football. I think it's from my looking at it, it's probably a bit better than I think what the prediction is for Lockhart. See quite a few games here that are very winnable games for Lockhart, and so we'll have to see how Lockhart does. And I'll recap it one more time. So for the football, you've got Austin Anderson, Cedar Creek, Buda Hayes, College Station, A&M Consolidated, Kyle Lehman, Lockhart, Pflugerville Hendrickson, and Pflugerville Weiss. Now, Pflugerville Weiss is one that I'd like to touch on a little bit here. So they were the lion killer there for a couple years. As every
basketball,
time
football, baseball,
Lockhart seemed to face them in the playoffs, they were the team that booted us right out of the playoffs in several sports. So I know it hadn't been that long, so it won't be forgotten. And hopefully Lockhart will be out to get some revenge against Pflugerville Weiss. As Lockhart made the playoffs 4 years ago. That was the first time they had made it in a number of years, and Pflugerville Weiss proceeded to send us packing. And so I know I'd like to.
You're saying they're the lion killer?
They were. I'd like to see us turn into the wolf hunters and get some revenge on Weiss. And then, as we talked about, got the 2 College Station teams. They've both been tough. And, Lehman, who I feel like a lot of people go, oh, that's Lehman, it's not Hayes. Well, they came in and we went to their house and they whooped us this last year. So we'll be looking to go out and kind of right that wrong there when – and I got to think they'll probably come to us this year. I'm not sure how that works if you played a team last year as a home or away game, if you lobby to get them – at your house the next year? Or does realignment reset everything where you could end up playing at their house 2 years in a row?
Yeah, sometimes it works out to your advantage, sometimes it doesn't. So, and of course, we're going to be losing our offensive coordinator, Coach Gilbert. He's going to be moving on to Marble Falls. So, and they're going to be making the switch from slot T, as Coach Herman was there last year, and to a spread offense. So I think they got themselves a good find with Coach Gilbert, and wish him all the best of luck. And, of course, give him a big thanks for what he was able to accomplish at Lockhart, turning Lockhart from a slot T formation offense, which was ran by Coach Brian Herman, into a formidable team to go up against for other schools. And, of course, broke the scoring record last year and, did a fantastic job for Lockhart. So he's definitely going to be missed. And I'm pretty sure whoever Coach Mavis brings in is going to be able to hit the ground running because of what Coach Gilbert was able to leave behind here at Lockhart High School.
Well, and we'll see, what with the new offensive coordinator often comes the new offense. So really none of us have any idea what kind of offense we'll see out of Lockhart next year. And none of us will probably until maybe the spring game, maybe not even till the fall in practice will we know what kind of offense they're going to run. But I can guarantee you this, if you stay tuned to Lions Pride Sports Broadcast, as soon as we know, you will know. One other thing that I want to point out from our football district is Austin Anderson. That will bring a Lockhart alumni back home, as Coach Roderick Thompson there is a Lockhart alumni. He's been there a few years and done a great job. He stepped in at one point as a fill-in coach and just kind of continued to do a good job there at Austin Anderson. I played with Roderick and his dad, of course, Lockhart legend, Howard Thompson, one of the best quarterbacks to ever come through Lockhart. So that'll be a kind of a good homecoming. And then one we lost that was kind of an alumni homecoming game is Davenport, who Coach Brandon Davis is at, and Davenport, they gave Lockhart fits over the last couple of years. Seemed like a game that we could have won, should have won both times, but yet Davenport continued to find a way to pull it out. And then they had some other big upsets where they were able to beat some other larger schools and larger teams this year. So we'll see them go from there are pre-Davenport as one of those preseason games again, but you never know.
Now, we talk about Lockhart football. Of course, Coach Gilbert set records on the offensive side. And I want to touch up on some players that we have that will be moving on. Of course,
before you get started, Coach, I'd like to wish Coach Gilbert best of luck.
Yes.
Coach Gilbert did an awesome job for Lockhart. He's a very good football coach, and he's doing a great job at Marble Falls. Good luck, Coach Gilbert.
Oh, yeah. So we got some seniors that's going to be moving on to the next level. Of course, one of the big seniors is from our front line, Brady Stevenson, and he was selected first state all-team offensive lineman for the Padilla Pole, and that's a big thing, Coach. If you would touch up on what the Padilla Pole means for Texas high school football.
Oh, it's a selection of some of the top players in the area, and in Texas, and to make that pole, to get on there, he did a great job, and he was probably our best offensive lineman throughout the year. Great job, and good luck to him.
He was the offensive line district MVP for our district, 13-5A Division II, and he's going to be going to play for the Black Knights at Army at West Point.
And believe it or not, he's not done growing. He's going to get bigger.
Oh, yes. Wow. And going with him to West Point is going to be what I'm going to call him is Mr. Lockhart, Ashton Dickens. Ashton Dickens played 3 years as a starter at quarterback. And, Coach, I know in my time that I've watched Lockhart Lion football, I have not seen a more dynamic player than Ashton Dickens on the field, and not just as a running back. He's labeled as a quarterback, but this guy has done it all offensively. The only thing he wasn't able to do was throw the pass and catch it himself. But if you take a look at the screen, look at the records that Ashton Dickens is leaving Lockhart to go to West Point. He's an all-time career leader in passing rushing, passing TDs, rushing TDs, total TDs, single season rushing leader back in 2022 with 2,013 yards, and single season rushing and touchdowns, 37 back in 2022. And
he drove the bus, too.
Yeah, he drove the bus. His numbers weren't in his final year as a senior as they were in his junior year, but his presence was felt inside the pocket as he was able to throw the ball a lot more and pick and choose when he was able to take off running. And that just showed I don't want to say it was immature in the junior season,
just the growth,
but the growth to where he was able to be more confident in his wide receivers. And not only that, his front line gave him a whole bunch of time to throw.
Well, when
he wanted to, he was able to just pick and choose when he wanted to run.
And going into college, the kind of transition that Ashton made from his junior year to senior year was a great thing because it showed poise, it showed his ability to work through his progressions, and it may not have been as flashy as that junior year where, you know, he's out there rushing for 2,013 yards, but it's also because he didn't have to rush for 2,013 yards.
Exactly.
Because he was able to stand in the pocket, work through his progression, find open receivers, and distribute the ball around the field. So whereas 2022, you could kind of look at it as putting the entire team on his back, 2023, he's able to spread the ball around the field and not have to carry the entire load itself. But if I'm a coach there at Army and I watch, his senior season and how the decision-making changed from junior to senior year, where he would look and go through progressions once, if not twice, before he decided to pull down and run. I see growth. I see maturity. I see a player that can come in and already has his mind moving in the direction of college football, where you've got to be smart. You can't just go in there and, because I'm a good athlete, I'm going to be good, especially at the quarterback position. You have to be smart. And then also, you look at the offenses that the military academy runs. I think Ashton Dickens is going to fit in great at Army, and you're going to see him, folks. It's not just, he went there. You will see Ashton Dickens play at Army.
He's going to get better.
Oh,
he's not done. He's not done yet, guys.
His junior year, he showed that he's one of the best football players that Lockhart has had. His senior year got him prepared to move on to the next level, into the college level. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to be interested to see how far this young man takes his career, especially at Army, along with Brady Stevenson. We still got several other players that are moving up. TD, we got Zakiah Gathings, Trey Brown that's been getting some offers. Tyler Stanton, who's gotten some offers, and touch up on some of those players that could be moving up to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, you've got Trey Brown. He's got 3 or 4 offers. Gathings is now up to 5 or 6 offers. He's, I think, him and both Trey within the next week will probably be zeroing in and deciding on that school. But they're not the only ones. There's quite a few other players on this team who have gotten offers, including Jaden Burnett, Tyler Staten, as you said, and Tyler Staten's one of those ones that I really like. So my kids both go to War Room with Ross Alexander. Tyler Staten's senior season ended a month or 2 ago, and he continues to be there working out with Ross Alexander every single week, trying to get better and working towards his future. And I think Tyler Staten has accepted his offer. I'll look that up here in a few minutes. But I just want to go through, and I'm going to read off all the seniors that were in this year's class that contributed. So we had Bart Key, number 2, that contributed quite a bit. Senior Eddie Mendoza that got moved from linebacker to nose tackle and did an incredible job there. Senior kicker Omar Ocampo, he's also got some offers. Ashton Dickens, as we said, he's headed to Army. Then you have Tyler Staten, Jaden Burdett, both got offers. Jose Rivera Fabian, who contributed. Gathings, of course, who was the district defensive MVP year before last, and then first team all-district this year. And then you got Trent Holcomb as well, got offers also, and looking to play college football. Then you've got Landon Green, the senior, Joseph Blue, the senior, Big Brady Stevenson, who we already talked about, Josh Barber, had Ricardo Diaz, and then Big Alex Richardson. He's also got offers to play college football, and Blaine Hernandez. And so out of these guys, from my recollection, I don't remember a class from Lockhart having more college offers and having more players, particularly 2, maybe 3 players that could play in D1. Some of these guys, they may go and play D2 for a year or 2, and then you may see them transfer up. But, yeah, what a great outgoing class, and they gave us a lot of good football to watch. And just special thanks goes out from me to all those seniors from last year for making my job exciting on Friday nights and giving me something to talk about.
Now, Coach, as far as a coaching standpoint, we got juniors that are going to be coming up as seniors playing next year. Of course, we got Gage Deutsch was outstanding receiver. He's going to be senior coming up next year. Julian White played some great defensive in the defensive backfield. Nathaniel Gonzalez, Gonzalez, is going to be a senior. Ben Mendez will be coming back. Jose Osorio will come back. Santiago Guerra, who was a big part of that defense in the linebacker position for Lockhart, will be coming back. Cade Modest, Trey Brown.
Well, Trey's listed as junior.
Okay, he's a senior.
Yeah.
Okay, Josh Landeros, Michael Foster, which is I'm really excited to see him coming back. Orlando Gonzalez, Dalen Darby. You know, a lot of these juniors I'm calling out didn't get much playing time, but they're going to be looking to pick up some even more playing time.
These juniors are going to be seniors. Are going to really have to step up and earn their job because you've got a lot of young freshmen that are going to be sophomores next year.
Yeah.
They'll be pushing them, and that's good. Competition makes you better.
Yeah.
I think the only question right now is finding who's going to play the quarterback for the Lockhart Lions, and hopefully that will be decided during spring ball.
I was going to get to that. We got Jaden Gonzalez and Wesley Meitler to round out the juniors. You know, my time Gonzalez kind of got banged up towards the end of the season, but you know, I think coming back in his senior year, I think that's just going to fuel him even more to get stronger in the offseason. Of course, he works out with Ross Alexander and War Room Strength Club, and man, if his time was last year, he was on pace to break Ashton's record in rushing until he got banged up a little bit. But with a little bit of growth throughout the summer workout program or off-season workouts that he's going to be going through, I tell you what, Nathaniel Gonzalez, Gonzalez, as I think he's locked in that running back position.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, one other running back I'm excited for is oh man, I just had his name on here. The freshman that came up, Rowland. Nathaniel Rowland. Nathan Rowland. When he came in halfway through the season, he did a fantastic job playing in a backup role and then stepping in as a starting running back when my time was out. And I think the 1-2 punch of Rowland and Gonzalez is going to throw fits on a lot of these defensive coordinators that we're going to be playing against. And
I think Gonzalez is going to have a great year.
Yeah,
he's already working. I told him as soon as football season is over, he needs to move in with Ross Alexander. Yes, sir. I'm already got my backpacks and I'm moving in. He's doing powerlifting, and after that, he's going to be doing track. And this kid, I say kid, works nonstop.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't take a day off. And sometimes I say, hey, you take a break. You know.
Yeah. And I tell you, with the receivers that we got, Gage Deutsch, Caden Mavis. Even throwing out there, rolling out there on the outside, even Gonzalez on the outside. Avery Ibarra, Nate Garcia, coming in as a freshman. Like you said, Coach, the biggest thing is finding the quarterback that's going to get it to these guys because we got some powerful wide receivers. We're going to have a dynamic
the wide
running
receivers
back.
And the quarterbacks could be one and the same too. I mean, I think from what we saw this last year, you're probably looking at Jordan Frohock, who last time he played quarterback was in 8th grade. But then you've also, I mean, there's some hard decisions to be made, and it could come down to who does best at the beginning of fall practice. You've got Gage Deutsch, who, yes, he played receiver all year, but anyone who's watched Lions Pride Sports broadcast long enough knows he's got a cannon for an arm.
Yeah.
But really, with Ashton Dickens back there, he was his best target. Put him out there at wide receiver. So I really think it could come down to fall practice, and you never know. You've got a really talented freshman who's going to be a sophomore, but then you've also got Gage Deutsch, who's a junior, going to be a senior. So there's qualities for both. One's got the older, more time and leadership ability, and the other one's a really good runner. So we may not know who our quarterback is until we see him come out for the first snap.
Definitely have a lot of competition. There's going to be we're going to have like 5 or 6 quarterbacks going into spring ball this year, and hopefully it'll be decided during spring ball. And
depends on the offense too, right? We don't know what offense we'll have yet.
And if you think about it, the last 2 quarterbacks that have started for the Lockhart Lions have started in their sophomore years. So keep that in mind. We got Frohock, who's going to be a sophomore. Mavis is going to be a sophomore, but man, these 2 guys are great receivers too. So,
right.
And of course,
so either way it goes, we'll be in good hands.
Like Coach TD just mentioned, we're losing an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
We're going to have a new OC, but Coach Cooper does a great job of coaching quarterbacks, and I'm sure he'll have a lot of input on who's the starting quarterback.
And with
next
6
year.
quarterbacks to work with, he's going to be like, all right,
Yes.
let me be that mad scientist. Let me get these 6 and put them into one.
And all of them are different. All of them are different.
Yeah.
And you got some young ones, you got some senior ones, you got some. All of them have a pretty decent arm.
Well,
so we'll see.
What we don't have on our roster, so what we're looking at, folks, is the roster from this last year. There's a ton of JV players that played really, really well, that made a good kicker in Omar Ocampo, but we saw some great things out of
Ethan Estrada.
Yes, out of freshman, Evan Estrada.
There you go.
Saw some great kicks out of him, and then also ability to play defense as well. That's always like that when you've got a kid that's a kicker but also plays another position.
And towards the end of the season, we saw Caden Mavis playing some defense as well too. Made some great defensive stops against Alamo Heights, and we got a great group. And of course, as you mentioned, Parker Connor, he came in about halfway through the district season and filled in great as a tight end position. And of course, Tyler Stanton and Trent Holcomb were the tight ends for Lockhart. So, and Parker came out and did great. He did fantastic, and when we needed a couple of yards, he was there to get the ball handed off to him, and he was a tough guy to get down.
Well, Lockhart ended the season, and this got to be a record. Lockhart ended the season with 16 freshman players on varsity, and you got to think every one of those 16 will make varsity as sophomores. So, I mean, it's not just next year, the year after. The pipeline is really strong for Lockhart. Numbers are increasing each new class that plays football. The 8th grade class, which will be freshmen next year, there's probably one or two there that will come up to the varsity. And then the current 7th grade class from this year is the biggest football class that Lockhart has had in years.
Going back to what you were saying, I remember doing the broadcast at the Piper game, Paul Alexander mentioned I tell you what, don't play Lockhart in the next 2-3 years. They got a lot of freshmen on the varsity, and they're good.
Yeah.
So we got more players coming.
Yeah, of course, Paul Alexander's was part of that famed 1971 Lockhart Lion football team. Last time Lockhart won a district championship in football. And, of course, Paul was a great guy. I got to meet him at Piper when Lockhart played Piper. Of course, Lockhart broke another record on that game when Ashton Dickens threw a 94-yard touchdown pass to Jordan Frohock, which was the longest touchdown pass in Lockhart Lion history. And, of course, trust me, I've done the research. I've gone back as far as possible as I can find. And, that was very impressive from a senior to a freshman in a game like that. Lockhart was backed up, and, Ashton just laid it up there, and Frohock ran up underneath it, and 94 yards later, we're in the end zone for a touchdown.
Well, we saw it all year, too. Dickens to Frohock, Dickens to Deutsch. Just really, really good receivers that Lockhart had. And you got to think that some of them may move around, but really good wide receiver quarterback combination that Lockhart's carried over the last few years. And, man, there's just so many guys that have the potential to step up. I can almost guarantee you there's going to be a star player next year that none of us even know who he is right now or haven't mentioned him yet.
We're like, was he on the roster last year?
Right. You're going to see somebody pop out and have a big year next year. And I'm just super excited about what the future holds for Lockhart football. Right now, we finished the year with around a 43, 44-guy roster. I think you're going to see that probably increase to closer to 50 next year. And then hopefully, that just keeps building. As we go up in school size, our team size needs to go up. That's one thing that even with Lockhart, as we were in 5A Division II the last several years, every single game before the game, when you line up on the field and you see the teams across from each other, you go, wow, they've got a lot more players than we do. So for me, that's the one thing that I think is it's being fixed and more kids are playing. So I look forward to, as we go up in size as a school, seeing that football team go up in size, and hopefully 2-3 years we're looking across and going, hey, we got more guys than they do.
Yeah.
And Sarge, let's not forget Eric here. I'm sure Eric has some comments to say about the Leland Eagles. And go ahead, Eric.
No, that's fine. Well, thank y'all first of all for having me here. Appreciate it. Y'all
let me pop Leland's district up.
Okay, so as you can see, we were concerned about the travel, but it looks like we're going to be doing some traveling in that District 13 3A Division 1 because before we had Ingram Moore and Llano in our district. Those were 2 long trips. Now we're throwing Florence in there, so that's another long trip. So before, it actually worked out pretty good these last couple of years because we didn't go to Ingram Moore and Llano in the same season. But with the 3 teams, having lengthy travel there, I don't see how you're going to not have – we're not going to have 2 long road trips each season because, you can't obviously make it where – they're all, and actually I wouldn't want it that way anyway, me personally, but I'm sure a lot of the folks in Luling feel the same way, and I'd have to make all 3 of those long trips in one season. But you're going to, like I said, the way it's looking, you're going to at least have to make 2 of the 3 of them anyway. So, as far as that goes, as far as the talent, though, and, and the chances that we might have, a lot of it just depends on what we got coming back. And I know we do have our quarterback, Gary Cantu, that ended last season, will be coming back as far as I'm aware. And, we'll see who else we have coming back. We had a young man on JV. He plays on the varsity in basketball, Brayson Spencer, that I would imagine will be in varsity next year for whoever our head coach turns out to be, athletic director, head football coach. And a couple of other young men, Frank Ledesma, believe will be coming back. His twin brothers, Jimmy and James, were on the team this last year. They're both seniors, so they're both going to be leaving. I think it was James that got selected to the San Antonio All-Star game and played in the San Antonio All-Star game. So we are going to be doing a little bit of rebuilding there, at home there in Luling. We'll just see, how things go. Randolph had a really good team this last year. One of the best teams that we played against, I'd say, a win. And, that didn't happen this last year. We ended up losing to them, if I remember correctly, 29-7. So it's going to be a growing process for us, but and there's going to be a lot of it. Sarge is going to depend on who we hire for athletic director, head football coach. I mean, that's going to tell the tale because then from there we'll go and see what kind of staff that person builds, or if they keep a lot of the staff that we have there in Luling currently, and we'll just see how things go as far as that goes. One of my colleagues, I think he was on, or he got a text from a little earlier, Greg Tracy. He mentioned that non-football district, the volleyball and the other sports, especially he mentioned volleyball specifically, is going to be a really tough district for us because we have Goliad in there and Poth in there, and those are 2 really, really good volleyball teams. I mean, and they're not just good 1 year here, 1 year there. They're good. It's pretty much a new district for us. Only Nixon Smiley is being carried over, though, but those are the 4 schools. Like I said, Stockdale was for quite a while, up until the last 2 academic years, was in our district. But now they had actually, I think, like I said, moved down to Conference 2A, and actually that's like they're moving back up now to Conference 3A. So
Stockdale has a very good athletic program, don't they?
Yes, correct. They do. Really good, Coach. Glad you mentioned that. Yeah, they very, very, and a lot of these programs, they don't rebuild, they reload. They really have the talent there, and not to say that we don't have it there at home, but but there's some schools that really. And a lot of it, like TD was talking about real estate earlier, a lot of it just depends on location. It's always just with that same thing, location, just depending on the quality of the athletes that we get, and not just in our school, but all the schools that are in our.
I'll tell you what, Luling has some very good young talent coming up. And as long as you keep them in the program, y'all will do okay.
Yeah, correct. And like I said, Coach, it all goes back to who's going to be at the top, because until you know that aspect of it, you can't. It's kind of hard to, figure out all the rest.
I know. There's a young man that played quarterback for the 8th grade. He's going to be a freshman next year. Mm-hmm. Dad was a quarterback in Lockhart. Euchre is his last name. Mm-hmm. Dad's name was Joey. And Joey was a great quarterback for Lockhart.
Yeah, and his brother Will.
And I'm sure he told me, I talked to him during the summer. He said, my son's way ahead of me when I was in junior high.
Oh wow, that's good.
And
that's a good.
Joey was one of the was a freshman that got to play on varsity when I was a senior. And while now we see it, and it's like, oh yeah, it didn't happen back then. And Joey Euchre got moved up as a freshman back then, and that was a huge deal. I also played with Joey's older brother, Will Euchre, rest his soul, who is an excellent defensive lineman. So just talented family, talented player you guys got coming up.
Hopefully Luling will be able to keep him there for a while.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because you never know about that. But and there again, Coach, I hate to keep going back to that, but again, it's going to all depend on who's selected for the athletic director, and hopefully we'll find out very soon.
Yeah, they should be making a decision here pretty soon because we have to get it's the school year. You can't wait. You can't sit and rest during off season. You got to keep working.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mentioned earlier, we do have Coach Ronnie Robledo as an acting, but still, there's some decisions like you mentioned, Coach, have to be made, scheduling and that kind of thing.
Well, decide if you're going to keep the same offense and same defense. That's something you need to start working on during the off season, during the spring.
Correct.
Yeah. And that was the Luling District. Of course, this is where Lockhart will be playing at for the next 2 years, District 12, 5A Division 1, as we move up from Division 2. We have Austin Anderson, which dropped down from Division 6A, from Class 6A. Bastrop Cedar Creek, which moves up with us. Buda Hayes, College Station A&M Consolidated, Kyle Lehman, Lockhart, Pflugerville Hendrickson, and Pflugerville Weiss. And another tough district for Lockhart, but as the only two teams, College Station, those are going to be a nice little drive out there. And but regardless,
I'll take it.
I'll take it. And I like the last 2 years where we had Bastrop back on our schedule. I like how we got Buda Hayes on our schedule. Now, of course, it's not going to be the same old Hayes Rebels Lockhart used to play in back in the day.
Well,
it's Hayes Hawks now.
It's Hayes Hawks now.
Yeah, it's Hayes Hawks. So.
And guess what? They got a new head coach, and they're not running the Salati no more.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to give a kind of got a condolence here to Del Valley High School. They drew District 26 in Austin, and that's going to include the powerhouse. You got Austin Westlake, Austin Lake Travis, Austin Bowie, Dripping Springs, and poor Del Valley and Austin Aikens drew in there with them.
Wow.
So you talk about a big district.
Can they file a protest to that?
I think Del Valley's going to ask to get their construction crews to start working the weekends because they broke ground on a new high school.
So I did hear that. Yes.
So that new high school should be by next realignment. Del Valley may be joining us in 5A.
Well, and that 6A that I was just talking about, that's District 26 6A, probably one of the most powerful districts in the entire state. Anytime you see Bowie, Lake Travis, Westlake, and Dripping Springs, there's would be some exciting football to watch in the Austin area on Friday.
I'll tell you,
nights.
I saw a district that's very interesting, Sarge. Buda Johnson's going to join Steele, Canyon, Judson, East Central, San Marcos, and Clemens. So Buda Johnson's getting out of the Austin district and joining the San Antonio, pretty much the San Antonio district. So it's going to be Steele is still very, very, very good. So it's pretty interesting to see who comes in second and third in that district.
Yeah, I think Comal Canyon brings a strong team as well. If that area, from what we've seen at Comal
what's happening in your Broncos is they're building so many high schools and there's not enough talent to go around. Some kid good example is Piper. Piper, those kids at Piper should have been playing in Smithson Valley. So and they're going off to Piper. So that's why Smithson Valley dropped down to 5A.
Yeah. And, of course, that's our football schedule, our district. And as far as all other sports in Region 4, District 25, 5A, of course, they don't have a 5A Division 1 or 2 in non-football districts. Of course, Lockhart remains with the same district we've been at for the past 2 years, Liberty Hill, Leander Rouse, Leander Glenn, Leander, Kyle Lehman, Cedar Park, and Buda Hayes. And for the last 2 years, that's been a very tough district for Lockhart to be in. With, of course, when it comes to volleyball, you got Leander Rouse, which is a powerhouse team.
They went to state.
Went to state. And then, of course, in softball, you got Liberty Hill, Rouse again, Cedar Park, and Buda Hayes. Man, they got some very great, good talent out there on both baseball and softball.
One important thing to mention, Sarge, is with being in the same district as Lehman and Hayes, there's 3 high schools and only 1 stadium. So expect to play some Thursday night games.
Yeah.
Well, and that non-football schedule as well, you want to get an idea of what that looks like. Right now, we're just coming into softball and baseball season. Both diamonds, you'll see a lot of those schools coming to Lockhart. So come on out, folks. Watch some baseball at Lockhart. Sarge will be doing a lot of the baseball games. I'll be doing some softball games, and I'm sure we'll be joined by some others. I think I know on the softball side, the first softball game we'll be doing will be a home game next Friday, and that'll be our kickoff for the softball season. Sarge, do we know when our first baseball broadcast will be?
That I haven't got it yet. I'm working on the logistics for that and getting with coach and making sure that I still got to get the okay from them, but we'll have a full slate of scheduled games. Right now, there'll be home games because as far as a lot of these schools are in the district, when I try to reach out to the other districts, it's very difficult to get them out there because, one, they got their own broadcast group. They're out there, and they have people that pay to watch it. So if we go out there and do the broadcast, which we do it for free, of course, their customers or their fans are going to want to watch it on ours, which I don't mind. But that's the case. But when they come to our town, our stadiums, then we have a first call on that. And if they want to charge people to watch a game that they're playing here in Lockhart, by all means, let them do that.
Well, and with baseball and softball, you don't have the plethora of room in the press box like we do at football games for multiple broadcast crews. A lot of time we're sitting in the stands or the world's smallest press box like we have there at the Lockhart baseball field. At the softball field, we sit down in front of the building. But I think good football or softball and baseball season coming up. One of the big ones, Market Lockhart goes to Lehman to play softball, and that's Coach Manny Espino, where he came from. And that's one away game that for sure we'll broadcast for softball. But keep your eyes on our Facebook page over the next upcoming weeks.
Yeah.
And we'll get some schedules of games of broadcast for both softball and baseball coming out. And then track season starts on Monday for junior high and high school. So that's something I'm sure we'll see a lot of these football players heading out to the track to test those running shoes out.
And Lockhart is hosting one high school is hosting one track meet, and junior high is hosting one track meet.
Oh, yeah.
And they gave us the district track meet, but we don't have the facilities for all the schools to come down. So we put it back in the hat, and so they're going to bid on who picks up the district track meet.
All right. And, of course, we got boys soccer and girls soccer doing a fantastic job this season, so we're going to be looking to add a couple of games for them. And especially if they go into the playoffs, we'll be able to pick up those games too. Of course, it'll be through the NFHS network, which, unfortunately, playoffs still belong to the paid advertising groups
UIL.
And all that. But, that's the UIL. But we'll probably get first drop on those should they go to the playoffs. But we'll try and get a couple of home games of boys and girls soccer, and it's things are looking up and up for Lockhart. The soccer team is successful for the past couple of years. Of course, the ladies won their first district game, and I want to say like maybe 3-4 years the other night. So congratulations to the ladies, and the boys have done an outstanding job as well also. So
and of course we got spring ball just around the corner, and we will be broadcasting the spring game again this year.
And when is y'all's spring game, if y'all don't mind me asking?
It's practice starts the last week of April, so we're looking like at the middle of May.
Okay. I believe I did attend y'all's spring game last year. Come to think of it now, it was in May. I remember.
And this is for Melly Condon. She asked, "Did y'all show the basketball schedule for Lulin?" Yes. Let me pull it up real quick. Of course, that was Lockhart's right there.
I think it's the same, right?
Yeah, it's not a schedule. It's just the teams that we're going to be playing.
Yeah,
I think that's what she's talking about. Yeah.
The district.
I don't know if you were listening earlier.
Here we go.
That's one thing they're going to do tomorrow. And Coach Robella's going to have to step in and take care of that. Get the schedule for football, who's home, who's away, and same thing for baseball and basketball.
All right, Ms. Condon, it's right there, right in the middle, District 26. That's going to be Goliad, Carn City, Lulin, Nixon, Smiley, Pote, and Stockdale.
Yeah, all pretty close schools, really. Goliad's probably your furthest travel game there, but that's not bad. It's a good small circle of schools, within 20, 30 minutes. Not too much travel. That's favorable for sure when it comes to the travel.
Yeah,
for sure. But just like the volleyball is what my colleague Greg Tracy had brought up earlier, and like I said, you're talking about Goliad and Poth in that district, which are two perennial state powers in 3A in volleyball. So, and like I mentioned, our girls were already struggling here these last, not just even the last couple academic years, the last few. A lot of the issue with the girls, the volleyball, we haven't really had consistency in the coaching. The head coach, we usually have one come in, and the next year we have a new one. Then the next year, that's been going on for a few years now. So right now we have Coach Peyton Sulak that's there, and my understanding, and of course a lot of it's just going to depend on the AD and HFC and what they want.
Right.
But as far as I know, she plans to return next year. Now, of course, that could change, but that's, I think, would help us more than anything, just having consistency, and that's not just for volleyball; it's for all the sports. Just have consistency in the coaching. Going from one year to another, because it just makes it really hard when you have to, you got one voice talking to you, and then the next year you got a different voice, and then the next year you have a different voice. It just makes it, and then us being the small school that we are, it makes it tough too, because the coaches too, they. I know they want that bigger and better job. They're really, they're not really looking to stay in like a long term in a town like Luling, but they just kind of wanted to get the experience, and then they can move on to the next job. But so I mean, it's kind of a catch-22 there, because you can't, you like them to stay, but at the same time, they got to do what's best for themselves and their families, and so we just deal with it the best we can. So.
Well, in Lockhart, we've seen some of those same turnover issues on the baseball and softball side over the last few years. I'm not sure about on the baseball side, but I know on the softball side, we got a good one in Coach Manny Espino, and I'm hoping my daughter's a freshman. My biggest and best thing that could happen for her is to have the same coach for all 4 years of high school. And I know Coach Manny Espino has a daughter in 8th grade coming to be a freshman, hopefully with us next year.
He's not going anywhere.
So I think hopefully we've locked that one in for 4 years on that side, which is a good change for Lockhart. And I think something we need to build a competitive program is to build consistency.
Correct.
And it goes the same thing. For every sport, really. Lockhart will have a new offensive coordinator coming in. Depends. You never know. They may come in and run the spread, so it may not be as much of a transition. But you never really know what's going to happen until that time comes. We could be looking at a completely different offense next year. The way it looks, more and more coaches run the spread now. So I think they were going to run some kind of variation of what we've seen before, but we really won't know until Coach Mabus makes his hire.
Especially with the quarterback that'll probably be taking their first snaps as a varsity quarterback.
They won't be changing offense very much. Lockhart kids get comfortable with a certain system, and they want to stay in that certain system.
Yeah. And speaking of turnover, prior to the year that Coach Herman came into Lockhart went through, I think it was a 12-year span where they had coaches for like 2 years here, 2 years there, a year. And it was a big turnover rate at that point. Coach Herman comes in. He coaches Lockhart for 6 years. He goes to Marble Falls. Coach Mabus comes in. He is starting his 6th year as a Lockhart Lion head coach. So, clearly Coach Mabus wasn't looking at Lockhart as a stepping stone to go off to another school. So, and he's done some great, he's done some great things here in Lockhart. Revolutionized the offense with Coach Gilbert from a slot T to a powerful RPO offense, and like I said, the biggest question mark of this year, quarterback. And spring practice will be kicking off here pretty soon, and I'm pretty sure that's when the battles are going to begin on who's going to be the who's going to be the front runner for the starting quarterback position. Of course, practice in the summertime. By the time we hit our game one, we'll know who our starting quarterback is.
7-on-7 is going to have a big
you're going to have six receivers and one quarterback. And then you could swap out.
Well, and while
Gage
George
could be
was the backup last year, of course, with our star Ashton Dickens, you could count on one hand how many varsity reps that Gage got this last year, as the Lions had a competitive season. So there wasn't very many games where we were up by 30, where it's like, okay, Deutsch go in there for 3-4 series and finish this thing out. Lockhart was always competing down to the wire, which kept Ashton in there to the very end. So really, with both of our potential quarterbacks, and who knows, maybe there's probably 3, like you said, like 3 or 4 more. Our quarterback may be someone next year that we don't know right now. But from the 2 that are potential to play quarterback, you're talking about a total of maybe less than 10 varsity snaps at quarterback this last year. So it will be a newcomer to the position on varsity for sure.
And this is our final look at the district Lockhart's going to be in. District 12, 5A Division 1. Austin Anderson, Bastrop Cedar Creek, Buda Hayes, College Station A&M Consolidated, Kyle Lehman, Pflugerville Hendrickson, and Pflugerville Weiss.
And as soon as we find out the schedule, we'll definitely post it and let you know.
Yeah. And one last time for Luling as well. District 13, 3A Division 1. They have Florence, Ingram Moore, Llano, Luling, Marion, and Universal City Randolph. And, gentlemen, we've come to that part to where the 2024 UIL realignment will come to an end. And I do want to give a shout-out to our main sponsors for the Lions Pride Sports Broadcast, Kent Riddle Properties and Kreitz Market. And for Luling Eagle Sports Broadcast,
Mom's Front Porch, Uncle Wiggly's Wieners, and Magnolia Mart. Right now, the title sponsor, we're doing it by fall, winter, and spring sports. So winter sports, so it's Magnolia Mart currently. Pretty soon it's going to become Magnolia Mart because we'll have baseball and softball. And I did want to mention, TD was mentioning about your softball coach there in Lockhart. I want to mention we have a brand new one in Luling. Coach Justin Higginbotham comes to us from Nixon Smiley High School, and I tell you what, he's been a breath of fresh air there. And I'll be, I mean, I'll say it in front of him. I'll say it in front of anybody. It's been really nice to have someone there that. The one thing you can ask for from a coach, or would want to ask for from a coach, is for them to communicate, keep you posted on things going on, and just act like they want you around versus like, well, maybe we don't really need a broadcasting outfit or media coverage or anything like that.
Yeah.
But Coach Higg, we call him there. He's been more receptive to us. What do you need? What can I do for you? I'll keep you posted on all the games you got going on, or practices. You're welcome to come to any practice, any scrimmage. I mean, you don't just get that from any coach. I mean, I'm sure you guys can attest to that.
No,
too.
yeah, we're getting the same thing this year from Coach.
Right.
Coach has been on the softball side, and it is a breath of fresh air.
So
like
yeah,
said.
so we, and I really hope that when this, all shakes out with our AD HFC / HFC, that we're able to keep Coach Higg around. So I really hope that we are. But he's been good, and we just to let all you Luling fans know, I did mention it already on our page. We finalizing the baseball and the softball schedules. We don't really have many of either. I'm not sure how you guys there in Lockhart, but we don't have many of either one, just the way the schedule shook out, which mostly they're going to be district games on both sides. But I think the first softball one we're going to do is on Saturday, February 10th. It's going to be 9 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be like a scrimmage. So we're going to kind of treat it like a test kind of broadcast for us, but we'll be on. People will still be able to see us. We're just going to kind of try things out here and there that we may use later in the season. So just to let all of you know that they're still tuned in here from the Luling side. So we're looking forward to baseball and softball. Sorry to see how everything goes.
Oh, yeah.
So.
All right, so before we close out, we'll go from left to right on the screen. Coach, any final thoughts?
Like I said, we'll keep you updated on once they release the schedule, who's going to be the home games and the away games. And, of course, a lot of parents are already talking about homecoming.
Yeah.
So we're excited that. And it's also, especially the scrimmage, we hopefully will scrimmage Elgin, the date of that scrimmage, and the non-district games. So we also need to let you know if we're home or away. And
who we're going to be playing against.
Exactly.
Sure.
And spring ball is just around the corner, and we'll keep you updated on that. And we're definitely going to broadcast the spring game once we get to that point.
Oh, yeah. TD?
And I'll put some work on Sarge's plate since he is retired. Make sure you check out our Facebook page. We'll share all the information we had today, including the football and non-football district. And I'm sure Eric will also be sharing with the Luling Eagles fans via their Facebook or whatever social media, those as well. And then also for the upcoming sports for Lockhart, I know softball and baseball have had some changes in the schedule from the originals that were released. We'll try to share on our Facebook page those updated schedules. And hopefully within a week or so, Sarge and I will kind of start to have an idea of which baseball and softball games, and so we'll be able to release those to our followers as well. As always, I appreciate every one of you guys tuning in and look forward to Lockhart settling into the new district on the football side and continuing to establish ourselves in our non-football district. Should be an exciting 2024 year for Lockhart Lions.
And Eric, for Luling?
First of all, I want to thank you guys for letting me hang out with y'all again. Like you said, we did this the last time here a few years ago.
Yeah.
We had weather get in the way the last time. So, just like you did yours on your page, I did the realignment show on from home, from my mansion, so to speak. So yeah, so that then and it was okay, but there's nothing like being here around folks, and then past COVID and all that. For the most part, hopefully, knock on wood, and so it's really great to be here. And then I did want to mention too that I talked about softball, baseball. We had originally intended to have a broadcast on February 13th, but then we found out that's also going to be the final home game for the varsity boys. So we're going to go ahead and probably do the varsity boys basketball game instead, since their season is wrapping up and there's no playoffs.
Senior night.
Yeah, and it's senior night for the boys, so we're going to go ahead and just do that one rather than do that first baseball game, and then we'll start baseball up in March. So just to let everyone know that's still tuned in, that's our plan. I'll go ahead and post that a little later as well. So.
All right. Well, my colleagues over here summed up everything that I had to say. So, I do want to thank everybody that tuned in from the Lockhart Lions side and the Luling Eagles side as well. It's great that we're able to come together. Of course, I went down to Luling. We started it up, and you and Brad Wright, and, of course, y'all have added a couple of more, have done a fantastic job since I left there. Of course, I moved back to Lockhart, where we took over as the main broadcasting group, and we hit the ground running. Of course, with TD Tom Dunn as my color commentary guy and Coach Amado Galvez, we got a fantastic crew at Lions Pride Sports Broadcast, just as you have there at Luling Eagles.
Yes, sir.
Sports
Yeah,
Broadcast.
and let me just mention all our crew. We got myself, of course. You mentioned Brad Wright. I mentioned earlier Greg Tracy. Greg's wife, Stephanie Tracy, is our camera operator. And then Logan Pettis, of course, another of our voices. And then our newest member is Patricia Trish Calloway. She's our QC. We call her a QC person. She watches the broadcast just like you have on right now in front of us and tells us, yay or nay, this doesn't sound good, this and that. So she does a wonderful job on that as well. So that's your Luling Eagles Sports Broadcast crew, 6 of us.
Yeah, and our QA guy is, of course, Kent Riddle of Kent Riddle Properties, always there. And we know if something's going wrong, we'll see our phones lighting up. So, but he does a fantastic job. Like I always say, make sure that we sound good and look good for all our Lockhart Lion fans and all our opposing fans that are tuning in and watching the broadcast as well. So as for myself, the coach, TD Tom Dunn, and Eric Lugo of the Luling Eagle Sports Broadcast, I want to say thank y'all for tuning in, and we could do this again in another 2 more years.
That sounds good to me. Good Lord willing.
The clock is ticking. The clock begins to tick now for 2026 UIL realignment.
Only 430 more days.
Yeah, only.
Or 630 more days.
Yeah.
So that's going to do it for us tonight, for this morning. I thank everybody for tuning in and watching. And, of course, I hope y'all are satisfied where Lockhart's going to be playing at and Luling's going to be playing at. If not, there's nothing we can do about it.
Right? Exactly.
We can do.
You got to go where you're told.
There's no more predictions. Everything is set in stone. And like TD said, I'll be posting those stuff up that the district's up on our Luling on the Lions Pride Sports Broadcast Facebook page, and we'll get you all the information out there. But like I said, once again, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate everybody that tuned in and commented and watched the show. You know, the fans is what really builds us up, and the players is what we do this for.
Yes, sir.
Y'all watching us is for these kids as well that's going to be playing on the field.
Definitely here for the kids.
Oh, yeah. So that's going to be it for us for this year. That's going to conclude the 2024 UIL Realignment Show right here on the Lions Pride Sports Broadcast and the Luling Eagle Sports Broadcast. As for myself, Emilio Sarge Juarez, like I always say, you could take the line out of Lockhart, but you can never take the heart out of Lockhart. Go Lions.
Thank you for watching today's broadcast of Lockhart Lions Sports, brought to you by Kent Riddle Properties on the Lions Pride Sports Broadcast. And remember, like the Sarge always says, you can take the lion out of Lockhart, but you can never take the heart out of Lockhart.